Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to understand question number 10. The chapter which we are related with is adjustment in final account. As usual in question, two columns are given, debit and credit. Why? Because total has already been provided. It means it's a trial balance, little more easier. Then we have four adjustments and we are going to solve these four adjustments as our first step. So we are now ready to start our question. First adjustment A, closing stock. Why I'm calling it as a closing stock? Because 31st December 22 and stock is given out of the trial balance. So any stock which is out of the trial balance is normally a closing stock. 2900, since it's in an adjustment, it would have two effect. First, closing stock we will write in direct income, and then we will go to current asset, and there you will write closing stock in current assets. After which B requirement is depreciation. As you know, in indirect expenses we will calculate depreciation, but here there is little bit ease for us. Why? Depreciation is already calculated, so we are going to write directly. Depreciation 800 would be written over here, and then we will go to our fixed asset side. It is depreciation upon machinery, so you will write value of machine over here, and then depreciation would be subtracted, which is 800. We will wait until we would have written the value of machine over here. Then we will subtract this depreciation from total value of machine. Two adjustments are completed. Now third, outstanding. Repair is an expense, so it would be outstanding expense. You will come over here in indirect expenses because repair is part of indirect expenses. We will write actual amount of repairs. As you know, outstanding would be added first. How much outstanding is? That is 80. So you are going to write 80 over here. And then second effect we will do in current liabilities. So you are going to write outstanding repair, and the amount is 80, which is going to be written in current liability. So guys, two adjustments, rather three adjustments are completed. Now next is D, make a provision 10% on debtors. So since we have already learned, there are four elements related to bad debt adjustment. First, old bad debts, that would be written in trial balance. Then we have additional bad debts, new reserve, and old reserve. So please understand four words: B for bad debts, A for additional bad debts, N for new reserve, O for old reserve. So B plus A plus N minus O, this is what we are going to do. There are two elements, additional bad debts and new reserve. They would be present in adjustment, but in this question only one element is present, provision for 10% on debtors. For that you will come in current assets. You will be looking forward for sundry debtors. Here you will go to trial balance and we'll see how many debtors, how much amount of debtor is given. Look, sundry debtors amount is 4800. So you will be writing 4800 over here. Again, go to adjustment. I'm telling you once again, additional further write of new bad debts. As in previous question, we have already discussed these four things. They are not present in your adjustment. Only N is present, that means new reserve is present. A, additional further write of bad debts are not present. But for practice, you will write over here additional bad debts. For the time being, we are going to put 0 over here. So we have got an amount of 4800 after subtracting. Look, sundry debtors, and you will subtract additional bad debts which are less, which are not present in your question. So here, please note it down. Sundry debtor amount we have taken from trial balance, then additional bad debts were supposed to be subtracted. In question, these additional bad debts were not present, so for the time being we have put 0. When you will subtract 0 from debtors, you will get the same amount. Next step, you will subtract new reserve and you will have to calculate it. How you will calculate? Look, in adjustment it has been mentioned, calculate 10% on debtors. So here you will calculate 10%. But for your understanding, please note we will pick this amount 4800 and then we will multiply it with 10 divided by 100. In this way, new reserve would be calculated over here. Amount 4800 multiplied by 10 divided by 100, we will get 480. Okay, so finally the net amount would be posted over here, where what we will do, this 4800 as our first part, we need to subtract additional bad debts which are 0, not present in the question. Then new reserve would also be subtracted, which is 480. So finally we have got our amount 4320. In this way we have fixed, or we have calculated two amounts. Additional bad debts, that means additional bad debt, since not given in the question, we will write 0 over here. New reserve, which we have just calculated, 480. You will put 480 over here. And finally, these two adjustments, additional bad debt and new reserve, are completed. Their dual effect is also completed. You have to subtract additional bad debts and new reserve from debtors. There are four elements. Now you can ask question, if additional bad debts were not present in the question, we can skip it. But please don't skip it. Make your habit in a very strong way. You always write, you will be writing these four elements in each of the question where bad debt adjustment is present. Whether they are given in question or they are not given, you will write all these four elements, so that by practice you have a strong memory to deal with bad debts. Now let's go back to the adjustment. There was provision, provide provision reserve allowance. This was new reserve and we have calculated and written over here. Additional bad debts were not present. So guys, all four adjustments are completed. We will now shift our focus to trial balance and we are going to post each element to the relevant place. Capital, it's a fixed liability. So we will come over here and we'll write capital, amount of which is, I think, 50,000. We haven't seen the amount, but let's confirm it. No, it's 20,000. So let's write 20,000 amount of capital. Then we have creditors. Creditor are your current liability. You will be writing amount of creditors then, which is 3,400. Write down over here. Then we have returns. Now please note there are two returns present over here. One on debit side, one on credit side. You will decide which return is related to purchase and which return is related to sale. Please understand, sales are written on credit side and their returns would be on debit side. So it means 600 which is written on debit side is sales return. So you will come to trading account where first you will mention sale and then you will be writing returns, and we have noted it down that 600 is sales return. Why? Because they are written on debit side, and now 1000 are also written but they are purchase return. So here you will mention 1000 and then we will seek purchase later on. So both returns we have written. 600 were present on debit side, that is why we have considered them sale return. 1000 were present on credit side, that is why we have written in purchase return. Next we have sales. So we have already mentioned sale on credit side of direct income. Amount of sale is 3 to 800, 32,800. Here you will write amount of sales. Now we can calculate net sales because returns are subject to subtract from sales. Amount of sales 3 to 800. Then you will subtract amount of returns 600. Net sales are ready. After sales we have plant and machinery which is 8000. This is your machine and you will write 8000 over here. Now final answer we can see. Total amount was 8000 for machinery. You need to subtract amount of depreciation. So we have got final amount of machinery. Sundry debtors 4800 we have already written. Look at over here. Then we have drawings 2000. Drawings would be written in fixed liability. They are subtracted. Amount of drawings. We will see it again. So drawings were 2000. Here let's mention it. So after drawings we have purchases 21,000. Already we have left a space. Amount was 21,000. So purchase is written. Then we have bank account. Bank account, your current asset. We will be writing over here. Amount which is written in bank account is 10,000. Just write down over here 10,000 amount of bank account. After which we have repairs 100. This is place which was fixed. So you will write 100 over here. Since it was associated with an adjustment, outstanding was supposed to be added. So 100, you will add outstanding 80. Finally, it is also completed. Repair, we have written stock. Since it is an opening stock, date is mentioned, closing stock was already written. So it's opening stock. Amount of opening stock was 4000. Put over here. And similarly, we can write net amount of purchase as well. Total amount of purchase 21,000. Returns are needed to be subtracted, which is 1000. So we have got 20,000 as our return. After which we have rent 800, indirect expense. So you will come over here and will write 800 amount of rent. Alright guys, manufacturing expenses 3600. You will choose direct expense. Manufacturing expense, amount of which is 3600, mention over here. After manufacturing, we have trade expenses, which is indirect part. So you will come to indirect expenses, trade expense, amount of which is 1400, write down. After trade expense, we have bad debts. Since these bad debts are present in trial balance, so they are old bad debts, B. So you will come, we have already spared some space over here. Amount was, I think, 800, I forgot. No, 400 was the amount. Let's make it 400. So bad debts are written. After which we have fuel. For that you will choose indirect expense side, fuel, amount of which is 500, write down over here. So this was the last element in trial balance. It means everything has been returned to the relevant place. Last step is to complete this formula. B for bad debts, A for additional bad debt, N for new reserve, O for old reserve. This was our adjustment. I have written it in italic form so that you can distinguish it. Then guys, we are going to add first three amounts. Bad debts, additional and new reserve. These three amounts would be added. And one more thing you have noted down, there is no old reserve. Old reserve was supposed to be present in trial balance, but since it is not present, so what you will do, you will write 0 again. So in this question, only two items were present out of these four. Bad debts, additional bad debt, new reserve, old reserve. Only bad debts and new reserves were present. So first three amounts would be added. 400 was the first amount. Then second amount was 0. Third amount was 480. And fourth amount is subject to be subtracted, which is 0. So we have got 880. It means this transaction is also completed. Now we can start our calculation for gross profit. For that purpose, we will take sum of both sides as our first step. So this space for the time being we will use to calculate the sum of credit side, and we have only two amounts present on credit side, the direct income. Here you will take sum of all direct expenses. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4 amounts present on debit side. Sum has calculated. Sum of credit side 35, debit side is 28. It means larger sum is 35. 100. You will write on total of both sides. We have written on debit side, same total would be written on credit side. Now you will choose the smaller side, which is debit, because 28 is smaller. Income is more than expense. It means it is your profit. How you will calculate profit? By subtracting smaller from the larger amount. 35,100 larger, smaller 28,100. So we have got gross profit, and you can see that first answer 7,000 is exactly according to book. This gross profit is now needed to be brought down. You will write 7,000 to the opposite side. So in this way, second portion calculation would be started. These totals were written just for rough work. You can erase them. Now, same procedure we will adopt for net profit, where sum is already written because there is only one amount. So sum of credit side is 7,000. Now you will take sum of debit side. where several amounts are present: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So guys, in this way we have calculated sum of both sides. Now you will choose larger sum, which is 7,000, and you are going to write this sum on total of both sides, after which you will choose the smaller side, which is debit. Look, it's 4. Since income is more than expense, so it would be considered as your profit. How you will calculate? By subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. 7,000 larger, smaller sum 4. So we have got 2940, and look at here, your net profit is 2940. In this way, your net profit is calculated. Now we need to brought it down, but as you know that in final account we will brought it to the balance sheet, brought forward. So here, this is the place where you will add your net profit, amount of which we have recently calculated, 2940. We are now at the stage we can complete this calculation related to capital. 20,000 was amount of capital. Then you will subtract drawings 2,000, and it's a profit, so you will add 2940 net profit, final amount we have got. Okay, then look at here, 24420. Answer of balance sheet is provided over here, 24420, and asset side is already completed, 24420. In this way guys, this question has been completed. All three answers are matched. I am very sure that you people have understood each and every step of this question, but I am humbly requesting you to please solve this question for 2 to 3 times as a practice. After practicing, if you see anything difficult, you are very open to ask your queries, questions through comments, messages, or you can directly meet to share your problem. I will humbly be trying to answer your queries instantly. So thank you very much for your time. It's time to end our lecture and it's time to say goodbye. Allah Hafiz.